The In Conversation podcast series, with author Nigel Beckles.
Welcome to the podcast.
Please like the podcast and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. The very best way to promote your podcasts, Podpage makes it easy to create a podcast website with just a few clicks. Every page is optimized to be found on Google and it stays up to date forever. For more information, visit podpage.com. The future of podcast promotion.
Have you experienced several failed relationships or been through a divorce? How can you avoid making the same mistakes again? How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes is out now.
Hi, my name is Nigel Beckles. My new book is packed with practical and common sense strategies that you can use to make better relationship choices.
Now you can discover the dangerous myths about love. If your relationship expectations are realistic, why you could be falling in love for all the wrong reasons.
How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes. It's a book that could change your life.
Available from amazon.co.uk. Kindle version also available.
When the Mood is Right, a poetry journey and mood swings by Queen P. Available on Amazon and all good bookstores.
The Royal Affair
by Queen P.
Dim the lights, sit back, relax, and breathe. You have entered into the Royal Affair.
Queen P. Poetry podcasts, available now.
The Royal Affair.
Get ready for takeoff.
Welcome back to my In Conversation podcast series. My guest for this episode is a man who has turned his life around in a very dramatic fashion. Documentary maker and author, Stephen Graham. Hi Stephen, welcome to my podcast series. How are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. So where are you living at the moment?
In North West London.
Okay, and did you grow up there?
Yeah, I grew in North West London.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood, up until I could say roughly 6, I didn't really. I would say it was just normal, as most other children be happy and everything. I must have having a happiness, but when I reached about 7, 8, I really acknowledged, the issues that was stemming over my mindset, and that was actually affecting the way I was actually thinking as a young person. Yeah, you had those nice moments, of course. I'll never say I didn't have a lot of nice moments, but I had a lot of problems as a youth growing up.
So was there anything in particular that kind of changed your behaviour?
Yeah, definitely. I would say my stepfather. For one reason or another, he would psychologically taunt me. He would traumatize me in regards to his behaviour towards me. He'd beat me, and he'd do most of it when mum wasn't around. He'll treat me. Only he knows psychologically why he did it. I believe that, he had his own psychological issues. He definitely had issues.
So how was your life as a teenager? What kind of experiences did you have?
As a teenager, my teen years were a bit wild still, because when I was 13, I already been booted out of 2 high schools. I was then sent off to Jamaica. I was always getting in trouble, always getting arrested. I was acting up a lot at home. Well, in fact, at home, I wasn't really acting up that much at home. I was actually always really a good boy at home. I used to really reflect on my actions without more being on the streets. So I kind of mimicked a very negative attitude where in home, I was that good boy, but I more reactive when I was on the streets. I was sent to Jamaica in my teens at the age of 15 I was first sent there, but 16 I went to live there. And by the time I was 19, I was brought back to the UK because I couldn't stay in Jamaica because I got myself too much problems. Yeah, my teen years were a little bit crazy. I was locked up as well at the age of 15 as well. I was locked up in Jamaica for drug trafficking. So I had to leave Jamaica at the age of 19 to come back to England. Unfortunately, my mother died on me, so I didn't see her for 3 years, and then she passed away. Yeah, my teen years were a little bit rough. I was disconnected from my family for good reasons. Because, like I said, my mother wanted to get me away from the problems that I was facing in the UK and with the police and other situations. Wanted to give me a fresh start. But unfortunately, taking a person out of the environment but not psychologically changing the way they think about life doesn't actually necessarily always work. I kind of took my problematic behaviour, my problematic mindset to Jamaica with me. And of course, I just spiraled out of control.
Well, you mentioned you were locked up in Jamaica. So how did that happen?
Well, I was locked up in Jamaica twice in my life. Once when I was in my teenage years and the other one I was 21. I had actually left England for a robbery charge. And while in Jamaica, I was told that, the case, I would win the case. So I'd come out to the UK. My mom had the intention of me coming to the UK, busting the case and going back to Jamaica and being free, because if I stayed out there, of course, I'd have been wanted in it. I'd have been a wanted man. I came back to the UK and on the way back, tried to bring ganja back to England and I got caught.
So when you say you were caught trying to smuggle marijuana, Were you trying to smuggle it from Jamaica into the UK or the other way around?
No, into the UK, because I was in Jamaica. I took off from England for a robbery charge. I ran from England, went to Jamaica. But hoping to come back to England with the weed, make a lot of money, and then fly out again. You know, like, I wasn't really thinking logically. I've been in prison in Jamaica twice. I was in prison in Jamaica. I was 15 for drug trafficking. They caught me in Jamaica, in Kingston, in Norman Manley Airport. I was in prison in Jamaica again when I was 21 for murder.
So you've been in prison in Jamaica twice, and you say the second charge was for murder?
Yeah, the murder dropped to manslaughter.
So what happened in those circumstances? How did that occur?
Well, it falls down to the psychological way I was thinking as a youth. You know, I had a lot, like I said, I went through a lot. I had a lot of traumatic experiences and my mind was always thinking straight. Not to put blame on anybody in the mature state of mind right now. I won't put blame even on my stepfather for it. I would just say, you know, these are choices that I made based on the pain I was feeling, and I never knew how to deal with those emotions. So not understanding my emotions that I was going through, the emotional state of mind that I was in as a young person, you know, which a lot of us don't understand our emotions. And, you know, sometimes they say it just takes 1 second for your life to change. Me not understanding myself in that one split second, I got into altercation with some guys and a life was lost. And so an individual was stabbed twice. I ended up getting arrested. Then, I was charged for murder, which I spent a couple of months in jail. Then I ended up going to Spanish Town prison around my remand. And then after a couple of years, I was sentenced to manslaughter.
So how long did you serve?
I served 8 years, just under 8 years.
So what was it like being in prison in Jamaica?
Jamaican prison it's not like a prison over here. There's no beds. There's no beds in the prison in Jamaica. There's no toilet facility in your cells. Urinate in a plastic bottle. You have to defecate. You are number 2 in a plastic bag filled with newspaper. Everybody got weapons, so you know you have knives and everything there. People have knives, jammers, prison-made shanks. It was very violent. It was a very violent place, you know. At the same time, I would say prison gave me time to reflect and look at my life still as well. I had time to reflect on life, you know, I had time to slow down a bit. Prison gave me that reward.
So during serving that 8-year sentence, what were your interests and activities?
My interest was reading the Bible. Then from there, I did a lot of self-reflection, did a lot of meditation and exercising, kickboxing and everything in prison. I feel like that was good for my brains. It was good for coordination. Plus, it gave me confidence as well, physical confidence. Because I knew I was very strong. You know, I was physically strong in prison. Plus, I could fight really well.
So how long have you been back in the UK?
I came out of prison in 2006. So I've been back, 15 years.
Since you've returned, you have become an author. So what's your book called and what is it about?
Incarceration J.A., a self-reflective analytical view of my life. Yeah, my book's actually about my life story. I've been through everything I went through because I work with a lot of young people today. I also do mentoring. I'm also a filmmaker as well. I've made 19 documentaries, a short movie, a 3D animated movie I haven't released yet. And I've actually released 3 books before this book I wrote about my life. But this book I wrote recently, which is really my main focus, is my autobiography about my life, because I think it's important that I went through a lot of things in life and I did a lot of things that some people may want to judge me for. But if you understand where I was coming from, we look at life from a point of view that not only the victim who actually was hurt or been hurt in the process of times, wherever time we're talking about in my life, is a victim. But look at what I've been through, realize that I was also a victim too. Because society, we like to, you know, victimize one person and love and support to another individual. So one's a victim, but when the other one's like, you know, it's a violent person. But really and truly, most of us are victims in society. So many of us are victims of society itself. This is where I'm trying to help you say we need to stop being so much judges in the community and start realizing that trying to persecute and, you know what I mean, victimize people for what they do, but more try to understand why they do what they're doing. Because by understanding why people do what we can do, we're actually going to make changes. The change will never come without really understanding what's going on in our communities. You know, if we can constantly always point the finger, we're never going to get no solutions or no real answers for anything. You know, it's going to create more division. My mindset isn't that. And being a person who's been down the road and done really mad, like being down a really mad road, done a lot of things, to turn around to be the person I am today, you know, making films, writing books, got a degree in medicine because I came out of prison. I went to college first. I came out of prison 2006, by 2007 I was in college. I graduated with the highest course in my class in sports science, 2008, and graduated from university 2011 with a bachelor's degree in musculoskeletal rehabilitation. So that's what I do. I'm also a qualified specialist in physiotherapy.
But you mentioned earlier mentoring. What inspired you to become a mentor, and how do you mentor youngsters?
I was on the streets myself as a youth. I was on the streets. Like I said, I was arrested for robberies and stuff when I was younger. Violent crime, knife. I've been arrested for knives when I was a little boy. So in North London, I did a lot of stuff. Got myself into problems. So for me, it's like, it's not about giving back, but it's like Tookie Williams said it the best. Tookie Williams is the one who they say started the Crips. Though us who are gang members, which I won't, like I said, I don't like to gang, but I'm choosing these words. Us who are gang members are more equipped to help young people or anybody involved in that life because we've been down that road already. I'm not saying that other people outside it can't help them because passion is important. When people feel you're passionate about wanting to help, people can understand that you really care, you know? What comes from the heart touches the heart. But for me, it wasn't just my passion for the young people or because I feel guilty for what I've done in the past that, you know, I want to try to correct the wrongs I did. It's more about I really understand, even beyond my passion, I understand like what a lot of young people are going through psychologically. The different attributes and contributions to the things that cause them to be on the streets. You know, whether it's through family, whether it's through just looking at social media. Because a lot of things have played a role in my life as Look at You. You know, I remember the movie Colours came out. That movie Colours with the Ice-T back in the days, that old movie Colours. That first gangster movie I watched, that really wowed me out. You know, there's a lot of movies that had an impact on my mind and psyche. Like, I just wanted to really share my experiences with young people and with families and with even parents, because there's a lot of older generation who don't understand the things that they do and say to young people, how much it affects young people. It's like you have a child, you can say, yeah, you idiot or something. But what we don't realize is even though I also sometimes I'm guilty for that, and I sometimes have to reflect myself and say, you know, Daddy don't mean like that, like you're an idiot, because you know you're very smart, and then I have to recheck myself. But sometimes we say these things and we don't realize that there's a negative energy that we're pushing upon that child by saying certain things to a child. When we really think about how deeply it can affect a child, a child might not say nothing to you because you're the parent. So it's not going to act a certain way towards you. But when someone on the road goes and calls them an idiot, straight away they flick because they're triggered to them. So even sometimes the things we say to our children, or even sometimes we don't say, just by ignoring the child and watching TV, and the child's coming to say, hold on, after the show. Then you've told that child that after this show, my TV moment right now is more important than you. If we don't understand the psychological things we do to our kids, then, you know, so for me, mentoring a child is a joy. I like to give time and energy to youth. I like to give time and energy to parents, not just children, because even a lot of parents also have their own traumas that they're going through. And to me, if I can help people and try to lift someone's vibration, someone's energy, it's a good thing. This is why I really do it, to, you know, to share my experience and share my love and my desire with other people. Try to lift somebody's spirit, man, lift somebody's energy. It's a better place when everybody's got a higher frequency and vibration.
So, Stephen, what are your plans for the future? My
plan for the future is to get my workshops in America. I've got some people talking to America, because I've done some work in America already, in Chicago, some people out there. To do more work over here in the UK. I've got more documentaries I plan to do both here in the UK and both abroad, to add to my catalogue of documentaries on history, culture, Abrahamic faiths, and current affairs like going to young people. I have quite a few documentaries in mind. I've got two I'm working on right now. One's about traumas, and the other one's about history and the role England's got to play in the current affairs of our people. Also got a few more books coming out this year as well. Well, one more book definitely coming out this year. I plan to write 3 more books. And I plan to release Amagon 2 soon, after I release my next book. That's coming out after this one. Amagon 2, I should release it by the beginning of 22. First book I wrote was a romantic novel. I wrote that when I was in prison. It's called Compatible Minds.
What is your next book going to be about?
Oh, my next book is going to be about, it's actually called Oneness. It's called Oneness, Redemption from Religious, Ancestral and Psychological Trauma. It's about the Bible, the Quran, and about the Abrahamic faiths. I mean, there's 1 billion people subscribe to Abrahamic faiths, but yet we have this mass confusion in regards to the way the scriptures speak. So some people say, you know, you got different denominations in Christianity, in Judaism, in Islam, but then there's only one book. The purpose of this book is to unite the actual books itself, to show the common grounds in these books. You know, not saying there's not be differences, but in the books. But we're looking at the fundamental foundations. That's the most important thing. Like, what's the fundamental foundation of these books? What's the fundamental message of these books? And what's the fundamental principles of these books? And that's what I look at. Preconceived ideas. Sometimes someone will tell you something, but doesn't necessarily mean that's actually what is there. You know, we grew up hearing that Jesus was a white man. A lot of people back in the 70s had a picture of white Jesus in the wall. When the reality is we know Jesus ain't white. You know, if anybody existed, you had to be black. So the point I'm making is that that's again preconceived ideas. So that's what my next book's about. It's about the scriptures.
So Stephen, how can people contact you?
They can contact me through my Instagram, which is Stephen Graham Projects, with the S on the end, Stephen Graham Projects, Stephen spelled the PH. And you can contact me from my website, stephengrahamprojects.com. There you can find all my books, my documentaries, my workshops, personal training. Everything's on my website, stephengrahamprojects.com.
Stephen in London, UK. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Another In Conversation podcast coming soon.